Good morning, everyone. Okay, so I was not told that there were going to be so many people. P.S. I might be nervous. There are high chances of that. Anyway, before starting, the reason I actually changed the first slide is because I was so much nervous. That's just my photo and so many people staring at it. So I changed the slide. So yeah, before moving ahead with the presentation, I'd introduce myself. I'm Akshita. I've been in cybersecurity domain for last 6 years, maybe more than that. Yeah, definitely. Before going towards the cloud journey, I'd like to share the journey of how I was adopted by cloud. Not, I didn't adopt cloud. Cloud adopted me. So I'll just quickly give an overview of my journey towards cloud, and then we can go ahead with the cloud security architecture and its resiliency. So I think the reason I mentioned that I completed mostly, I think, more than 6 years now in cybersecurity domain. Yes, I'm a particular cybersecurity person, now adapted towards cloud security, automation, AI, and everything, whatever that's trending, assign it to me. So why more than 6 years is because I think not back in, I'm not that old. It's just pre-COVID era and after COVID era. So I think when I was graduating from my school, I particularly hated coding. And I might say that many of the people can relate to that part. At least the starting days of our life can definitely relate to those parts. So back in school, hated coding. Someone came to me and said, oh, okay, networking is the new topic. You definitely don't need coding and everything. So I started reading Ferozin. I don't know how many of you knows that writer, but Beros Ferozin has a really amazing book. Go to the library or go to the internet and just look him up. He has a really great book on computer networks. So I started reading that book and I was like, oh, the reason I started reading that book is because I looked at the book and said, oh, there's no code. Let's read it. So as soon as I got reading into the networks and everything, I realized that, okay, the flow, this topic is something which is attracting me. And at that time, cybersecurity was the trending topic. Now it's AI, definitely. But back in 2016 and 17, when I was graduating, cybersecurity was just landing towards networks. So that's how I fell into network security. Definitely, coding became a part of life as I got into it. I became an ethical hacker, certified ethical hacker. I realized that, okay, this is a topic which needs an in-depth curiosity. And that is what I think all the cybersecurity professionals mostly relate with one common part, and that is curiosity. Curiosity is what leads us into this, okay, this is vulnerable. Why is it vulnerable? Can we patch it? Why can't we patch it? Can we exploit it more? The questions, as many questions as we have, that is how much we actually go in the depth of that topic. And to me, entering into cybersecurity was all about curiosity. So of course, this curiosity is what the words are going to jumble. I told you, I'm going to be nervous. So the curiosity is what I started with offensive security. Everyone in cybersecurity definitely starts with that first topic. Offensive security, application security, enterprise security, and then I think 3 years back when I got hired by Amazon, I realized that cloud security is the new trendiest part. I was into cloud before, but then again, I was outside the cloud. Like I was looking at the cloud, protecting it from outside, using the tools. Okay, we are going to attack the cloud. We are going to break the cloud. And cloud is getting my data. Is it compliant? Looking at the SOC compliance aspects and the factors and everything. So I will say that before entering into this company, I wasn't completely aware about cloud. But I was looking at the cloud from outside. Then, as soon as I got inside cloud, I realized that, okay, there are so many components here itself that is building the security architecture so strong that I I would say that I was so attracted by the cloud security architecture and its feature and everything. I was like, okay, decided, okay, that's how I'm going to do. I'm now going to sit inside the cloud, and then I'm going to help our customers achieve the solutions, achieve the secure, reliable architecture to which they will be so much satisfied that they won't be concerned about what attacks or what lies outside the cloud, what perimeter they have to test outside the cloud. Of course, as a matter of SDLC or anything, people do test it, people do secure it from outside too, but only if we build our architecture so securely reliable, there should be not enough concerns from when you're looking from outside. So that's where we are sitting. So when you're looking at this presentation, when we are talking, consider yourself that you're sitting inside a cloud. There are components around, there are things around, and then you're going to play with those. And that's how you're going to think about it. Like, okay, now I'm making my architecture so reliable, so defensive that no attacks can come inside. Moving ahead. Nervous. Okay. And cloud security architecture and resiliency. The reason I added this word resiliency is because there are so many words around this secure architecture, not just related to cloud, but there are so many. There's adaptations, there's, cost optimizations, and there are so many other things. The reason I decided to go with this word resiliency is because it covers everything. It covers our main fear of backups. If we are out in the front, if we are exposed to certain attack, or I don't know, geez, my capabilities, my resources capacity is out, my database is at the end, what am I going to do? I need a backup. I need to be resilient. So that's why I decided, while talking about this subject, let's just go with one word and make it more simplified. Resiliency. Now, trust me, when I decided to Google this word resiliency, in my mind, I was just completely concerned about, okay, when I put what is resiliency, it's going to tell me how are the backups built, how is it in the distributed format, how is the distribution matrix that works when the backups are considered, how is the adaptation, recovery, and the anticipation of attacks is considered around this resilient factor. And it showed me about emotional resiliency, and then it gave me pretty much sites about, are you resilient in your life? Which I explored. And I'm not. Okay. So, but then I changed my Google query, and then I put over there, resiliency in cloud world, in cloud computing. So, as to what I read, in cloud computing, resilience refers to a cloud system's capacity to bounce back from setbacks and carry on operating normally. Yeah, definitely, you can apply this in your personal life too. But now we are talking about systems, we are talking about our architectures, and we are talking about our on-premises servers and everything. Yes, that ability to bounce back from their setbacks is what is the foundation of defensive architecture. It's that, bouncing back. Cloud, yes, we are applying this resilient concept to the cloud. Now, can you say, when we are saying that cloud is resilient, it helps us achieve cyber resilience? Yeah, I seriously don't have that much of content on the slides. Trust me, the slides after this are pretty much blank. All we are going to do is talk. Thank you. So what is resiliency in cloud in the today's world?
It's secure by design, so it's by default secure rather than it being all open, which it previously was.
Yeah, so my thinking around this was, well, I am a very active person. Other than my work, I usually uh, go dive deep into some topic. I'll write papers and everything. So I was just wondering, if suppose tomorrow I'm writing a paper and I'm mentioning this word resiliency in cloud, can I just say that my system is cyber resilient? And the person in front of me would be like, oh, okay, so they include all the aspects of a system being resilient into that one word, cyber resilient. And that was the thought over there. So if suppose tomorrow you're selling your cloud and you're saying that my cloud is cyber resilient, so when you're applying the cyber word in front of resilient, should they expect that whatever the word resiliency denotes, for example, the definition, let me read it once again, a cloud system's capacity to bounce back from setbacks, or its adaptability, or its anticipation to attacks, or I don't know, the resource capacity or anything? Maybe yes. Now, I wouldn't say that I have found a book or I have read a paper where I have came across that they are talking about certain cloud platform saying that, oh, it's cyber resilient. No, no one has ever mentioned it. But maybe tomorrow, if I'm writing the paper, I'd mention that. I'm starting it from here. So yeah, cyber resilience means having adaptability, recovery, and anticipating the threat. The threat was the word which I was forgetting continuously. I'm sorry for that. So tomorrow we can use the term cyber resilient for the cloud instead of just saying that, oh, the cloud technology I'm introducing to you is resilient, by the way. So this is just the start of being cyber resilience, of having the platforms. I'm not just talking about the cloud technology, to be really honest, but having the platforms which does give the ability of being cyber resilient. Tomorrow you're developing a software, you're developing, I don't know, if you don't have the cloud option, you'll be developing it on premise. But even if you're developing it on-premise, you should be having the option of it being resilient, saying that, okay, I do have a backup server here. There are 7 blade servers. Out of the 7 blade servers, I do have an 8th server, which is going to be the backup, which is going to serve the definition of that word. So yes, that's what we are going to discuss ahead. And as we go ahead with the slides, I want you guys to think about the concepts ahead of it with this terminology in the mind. Migration to cloud. Because we were talking about cloud and everything, I didn't wish about not talking about the part where some people are still in the process of migrating towards this technology. I'm not going to assume that, okay, not everyone is going to be on cloud. Maybe some are still in the migration process. Maybe some are still on-premise data centers and everything. So I thought, why not just talk quickly about, let's give a slide to talk of how this journey is. What are the triggers? What could be the triggers for migrating towards cloud?
Financial.
Definitely, but that is one of the most important trigger.
Agility.
Yes. Yeah. Flexibility. Definitely.
Speed.
Speed, scalability. Yes. Innovation, security threats, capacity needs, operational benefits. Definitely. Let's say we are talking about database infra, and we are concerned about the databases reaching end of life. The flexibility and the scalability part which someone mentioned is where we are fulfilling our needs. Security threats, of course, when we are talking about on-premises, there's physical damage and these kind of concerns. Security threats, I think, is one of the main thing where people consider going towards cloud, at least from my perspective, because there could be several other things. Financial is one of the best things, but since that's not my purview of era, I won't be talking about that area that much.
I personally view is that companies don't move to cloud to mitigate security threats. It's a side effect, it's a benefit, but it's not the primary driver to move to cloud.
Okay, that is absolutely correct. It could be one of the trigger, but it won't be the prime need to move towards the cloud. That's what you're saying, right? Yes, that could be a point. Thank you so much. So Okay, just wanted to give you an idea about migration towards cloud. Moving ahead, yeah, cloud security architecture. When I decided on this topic, I thought that, okay, I have to mention a lot of layers and the storage goes over here, the storage is this responsibility, and there would be like 7 layers, there would be application layers, and I'll have to explain that. But then I realized the fact that we all already know about it. Why not just explain the cloud security architecture in 2 formats? Your responsibility, cloud's responsibility. A simple shared responsibility model explained in 2 different parts, only 2 parts. Now, what is going to be your responsibility? End user security and monitoring, user privilege control, configuration, security and compliance. Maybe because I am a security mindset person, it can happen that I have just mentioned security configurations and privilege control kind of topics. If you guys know about other responsibilities from your end, do mention it. Cost management is definitely one of it. It's okay, even I don't know. Yeah, like I prepped only for these 4 parts, but then there are definitely other factors too when it considered in the shared responsibility model. Whereas in cloud's responsibility, giving you the compliant platform, giving you the necessary security controls, the services, giving you the network controls, providing you the operating systems. Providing is the cloud's responsibility, but what you're going to do with the provision of those resources is your responsibility. How you're going to tame those resources, how you're going to configure those resources, how you're going to use those resources for your own benefit, for your software development, for your research is completely on your part. Their responsibility is to provide you the resources up to the highest standards, up to the highest and the best security standards or to the quality standards. So that is their responsibility, and rest lies with you. Any questions so far? Okay. Now this is my favorite part, journey of cloud to DevSecOps. I'm just going to have quickly a sip of water, and I'd encourage every one of you to have it. We pretty much talked about cloud till now. Before talking about DevSecOps, does anyone want to have a brief information regarding DevOps? I think we pretty much, everybody knows about it. Cloud native technologies don't lend themselves to static security policies or checklists. They rather have configurations in security that are configured in a continuous and integrated format. And that's where DevSecOps come. DevOps people in the early times faced challenges in the DevOps development and operational implementations. I think that pretty much covers everything regarding DevOps. They definitely faced so many challenges concerning security and configuration back then, not just the secure configuration, but in general configuration, automating it. I think back then when I worked with DevOps, altering sudo files, relying on the OS for the security was, I think, few of the options they used to prefer for security. They also, of course, relied on a wide variety of DevOps tools to address their issue complexity. But Yeah, but there were limited options back then, I think. But then as soon as they realized that this need of continuous integrated environment is growing, they realized that DevSecOps is the need. Today, DevSecOps is making a big difference in the IT industry, including security and ensuring a seamless SDLC. When we talk about DevSecOps, sorry, I told you there's not much in these slides. Pretty much we are going to talk about it. When we talk about DevSecOps, there's this word named automation. I thought that I did put in the slide, but I haven't, so we might as well talk about it. Automation is a word which is highly loved right now in all the industries. There's a post automation engineer, security automation engineer, Kubernetes automation engineer, Java automation engineer. I don't know, I'm just applying words. Kubernetes is something I have heard of, but Java I haven't. There could be. Why DevSecOps is continuously related with that word automation? How does this serve the continuous and integrated security environment when we are talking about the word automation with DevSecOps? It is because they are starting to make independent machines. They are starting to make independent processes. And as much as they want the task to process itself, take a simple task. There's AWS, there's ECS. You want to run a simple task on ECS, you automate it. You start it from processes, you take it till task, you take it till services, you also automate the services, and that's how you automate a machine. So the need of automation towards this continuous and integrated security concept is arising day by day because we want to develop independent processes and threads around our work. We are trying to lessen the chances of human errors. And that's how we move towards DevSecOps. I'm going to read the script. Give me a minute. Breaking the regular trend of having security as a separate process, DevSecOps calls for security integration across all the stages of the software process chain, addressing security concerns at the very first instance of every stage. The same DevSecOps now comes as a savior for cloud too. I was a 21-year-old when I started with the security-related work. No company, and by that I mean no company would come to you and will say to a 21-year-old fresher, saying that, oh, these are the assets of our company, please go and secure. No, they need a certain trust around those assets for you to develop. And to earn that trust, they made me work with DevOps. They made me try to understand how the servers work, how they have deployed their application on their servers, what is QA, what is test, what is prod, how are they testing it, how are the launches going. So they just made me sit in the DevOps team for 6 months, and they made me work with the team for me to be able to actually take care of their assets, secure their assets. When I was working with DevOps, I was just shadowing how they're working. I was given small tasks, maybe to run cron jobs, or maybe to take care of the servers and things like that. My very first introduction with automation was a senior team member came to me and said, so every day, 8 in the morning, you're going to start the server. Every day, 8 in the morning, 8 in the night, you're going to stop this server. And I said, I have to do that manually? And he said, yeah, you have to do it. It was cloud, by the way, and he still made me do it manually. So for a week, I did it manually. 8 a.m., I had these reminders on my phone. 8 a.m., I'd do this. And then I was like, why am I doing this manually? This is so ridiculous. It's like they're making fun of me. So then I reached out to, of course, the most reliable source, Google. I reached out to Google, and then I put the query, how can you automatically, because automate was not the word back then, how can you automatically make a server go on and off at regular intervals? And that's my first introduction towards automation, people. That's when I wrote my first cron script, I ran it, and then I was like, okay, I can do this. But when I was writing the cron script, I realized that I can play with this cron script. I can write malicious script, and I can run it through cron. And it was a wonderful idea, but I did not do it. I ran this idea through our senior solution architect, and who was my mentor by that time. And he asked me, okay, did you run it? I said, no. Then he said, oh, thank God. So then he realized that, okay, you cannot do this, and you have to implement a check that whoever wants to do this, they won't be able to. So for example, your cron script should not, I'm just giving a very simple example, your cron script should not accept accesses related scripts. So if someone is entering cron script and they are trying to enter it, your system should have a check implemented in the backend that it would not accept saving that script onto your system unless that is removed. And that's where I realized I was able to convince the DevOps team who were senior to me, all the senior people in the team, that why do we need security at every stage of implementation? That was just an example. A kid playing with the cron script can manipulate the cron script, can attack your server, can make your server go slow, can delay it in seconds. But that was literally for a certain stage. It was a server stage. There is going to be an application stage. There's going to be a launch stage. There's going to be a stage where people are actually using, thousands of people are actually using your application. For all these stages, there needs to be security, and that's how there could be a lot of different journey about DevSecOps out on the internet, but I particularly wanted to talk about the DevSecOps journey of me, like how I got introduced to this journey in particular. So yeah, this is how it's done. From the server stage to the launch stage, you are implementing security at each and every stage, and you're making sure that is implemented in the continuous manner, and that's how DevSecOps is born. Moving ahead. Future architecture of cloud. I thought that instead of putting something on this, I'd rather take people's perspectives, I'd rather take your ideas towards it. In fact, even integrate my ideas around it. So what do you guys think future architecture of cloud, again, nervous thing, future architecture of cloud should include?
You kind of touched on it, the security inherently built in. It's still really a bolt. You still need to do. There are patterns you can add, to your point about DevSecOps, but it's not necessarily the default.
Correct.
And it kind of needs to be the default, which it isn't at the moment unless you choose it to be.
Absolutely, that is correct. So just to add to your point, so when we are talking about shared responsibility model, in the cloud's responsibility, security should be considered as priority 0. It should be default. That is absolutely nice. That's really correct. Anything else?
We need to make sure that it is easy for people to follow. I think the biggest concern is that when it's difficult, the security in the cloud, it just doesn't get done.
Okay, that is one good point. Hmm.
I think there should be a bit more of a, I what Nick was saying about the security being the default, and I think there's more of an onus now on the vendors, especially say like in the Azure world, of almost scoring you because you're not adopting new features. I think that sends out the wrong message, to be perfectly honest. I think it shouldn't be used just as a sales tool.
Hmm.
As any new pieces coming out, there should be a bit more of evaluation before they're actually released.
That is correct. That is something we can adapt in the architecture itself so that this complexity would reduce at the vendor's side. That is correct.
Could make it affordable?
Sorry?
Make it more affordable?
That's, yeah.
Make it an add-on. Security a chargeable feature.
That is also a point. But I think, I don't think these aspects of add-ons of security and everything can it can be added to the features of cloud rather than in the architecture of cloud. I don't know.
I think it's about making it default. If you make it a chargeable extra, so you make logging
Hmm.
in an S3 bucket a chargeable feature,
Hmm.
IT will choose not to do it.
Okay, I got your point.
Because you know, you're going to make it as cheap as possible. They're going to make it as cheap as possible. If you make it an adult and you make it a choice and you make it chargeable, the choice will be not to take it.
That is absolutely
Most
correct.
FinOps people are penny pinchers. I've seen them.
Okay, so future architecture of cloud, I did expect that it would be, of course, covering some of the drawbacks that you guys mentioned. Definitely, it should be implementing in the future, considering all these feedbacks. But there's one talk of the town kind of thing, which I don't think it's completely adapted in all the IT industries yet, and that is multi-cloud hybrid structure. Yeah, and I think that is one of the most important aspect as to what people are considering in the industry to be the future architecture of cloud, the multi-platform thing, the hybrid nature of the cloud. And that's where, if they are moving forward with the hybrid nature of the cloud, I surely think that they should be taking into consideration these feedbacks of being portable, of being affordable, and of being flexible, making the security kind of priorities as default, not chargeable. They should be taking those things in the consideration. But yeah, I think pretty much in the cloud, if we have reached the automation part, the DevSecOps part, from the DevOps era in no time of 3-5 years, as much as cloud is making advances in these technologies, we'll definitely be reaching soon enough onto this multi-cloud hybrid nature platform with all kind of considerations and feedbacks taken into consideration. We really hope that cloud does go that much forward.
Do you see, to that point you just made, multi-cloud's always been there, but it's not been a choice. It's just been very bad decisions made across the business over years. We've just bought different things in different places. I guess what you're suggesting, and it's a perfectly reasonable thing, for resilience, and the banks have talked about this for a long time, the idea of everybody sitting on AWS, so the UK banking system is, AWS goes down, the UK banking system goes down. So you end up saying, well, actually, I want to do resilience across AWS and Azure. I want, my prod server or in AWS, and I want my DR server in Azure. Do you see that as being native capability that will come out of the IaaS services, or will that always require an overarching tooling, whether that's automation, whether that's whatever, to do that piece of integration?
I cannot talk about specific cloud platforms in that concern. I'd say that native compatibility is something that should come ahead. When I'm talking about the future architecture of cloud, yes, in taking in consideration for entire cloud technology, native compatibility is something which should go ahead, but won't be able to talk about particular platforms in that concern.
that is coming. So I can't remember the name of the organisation, but there is one that are pulling together standards across all the cloud providers so that you can do resilience across different cloud providers with the same command structure. So that you can build over here and deploy over here, for example. I have to go away and have a think about what the name of the organisation is. There's 9 large organisations pulling that together as an approach.
Cool. Thank you. So I think we are done for the day. I just got a heads up. Thank you all for adding your thoughts today and for coming here and for listening to me. It really meant a lot. Thanks.